Okay, so I am your holistic nutrition practitioner. My name is Lucas Simmons, and I'm here this week to talk about liver stuff. Is this a lot? We are talking this week about, are you including these veggies for liver lovin' if you're looking to support your liver? So we are talking about just food today. There's no diagnosing, there's no medical advice. This is just food. So this should be legit, but in some circles it can be pretty dangerous content to talk about beets. Beets are super terrifying for some people, perhaps. So if you're terrified of beets, look away. Okay, I have three foods where I'll stop being flippant. It's just, drives me bananas. Okay, so we are going to talk about three foods this week. I hope this will remain on the Facebook page, and if it doesn't, thanks for tuning in. Okay, three foods for you to start introducing. This is not medical advice. If you have liver troubles, I'm going to strongly encourage you to go check with your medical team. They are the experts in knowing how to support you when there are troubles at the liver level. I'm merely here to talk about the foods. So we have three on our list today. When it comes to liver, one of the really key pieces to know, I've talked about bitter flavors, chasing flavor. We've talked about reducing some of those chemicals in your cleaners in order to take some of the workload off of your liver. And we've also talked about keeping it real in terms of food. I've been posting a food idea to implement every week on our Friday challenge for the weekend. For the liver stuff we've been doing all month long, we talked about beets, we talked about garlic. Oh, sorry, ginger, pardon me. So both of those, well, one of them ties into today. So here's the deal. When we're talking about liver support, one of the key tips is that this is where our plant allies come into play. Plants can be a really, really wonderful ally to help our liver do the work that she needs to do. So vegetables and the inclusion of vegetables is one of those pieces to support the liver when we're talking real food. So today we've got three. I'll give you the three for those who just want the grocery list. Beets, onions, and all vegetables in the onion family, and dark leafy greens, especially nettle. There's a caveat with dark leafy greens, which we'll get to if I have time. Okay, first things first, beets. Why beets? Because they're delicious, they're tasty, they taste of the earth, and to me they are the quintessential best food for liver for a couple of reasons. So it is a good source of a compound called betaine. It comes from beets. Betaine, there's also betalains, which also come from beets. Oh, do you see how they named nutrients after beets? Because beets are that stellar? I know. Do you love that? So betaine helps protect your liver cells and is one of those compounds from food naturally occurring. I'm not saying take a pill. Yeah, so betaine helps in the regeneration of liver tissue. Liver is the only organ that regenerates like a dream. Amazing. Beets help it do this by providing a compound called betaine. So I want you to think of betaine and beets as a liver protector. So they are kind of besties with your liver. They're amazing for your liver to function and to support her through all the work that she loves to do. So betalains, another compound found in beets, helps to support the liver to do the detox work. So when your body's doing some detoxification, which it does all the time, your liver is kind of in charge. She's the queen of the cleanup crew. You're doing it you're doing it all day long. You do a lot of it in the nighttime. You do a lot during the day. Like it's kind of all the time. And your liver needs betalain as one of the ingredients in its cleanup soap, if you will, for lack of a better word. It uses betalain as one of the compounds, one of the ingredients in her recipe to do cleanup. Like that's what I want you to think about. So beets provide this betalain. Betalain helps your liver bag the garbage. It helps your liver take the garbage out to the curb, which are two different pieces of what the liver does. Betalain have been shown to reduce inflammation in the body. So inflammation is kind of everything that I do. Inflammation is the common denominator amongst all those chronic diseases that we struggle with. Chronic inflammation is partially being a human in 2021, I'm pretty sure. I don't know anybody who won't have it. But chronic inflammation can show up in many different ways according to whatever's happening in the person's body. But chronic inflammation is that biggest contributor to your body's workload for the liver specifically. The more chronic inflammation you have in the body, the more work your liver has to do. The more chronic inflammation you have, the more your blood sugars might be off. Your hormones might be out of whack. You might have a chronic disease diagnosis somewhere. You might have aches and pains that are kind of always there and hard to move out. These are all indicative that your body has a lot of chronic inflammation going on, possibly. But another way to think about this is that your body has a high burden of stress. She's having to deal with a lot of stress. Stress is perhaps the biggest contributor to all of these things. And the liver loves you the most through stress because she helps with all of the pieces of it. So if there's a lot of stress to deal with, then your liver has a lot of jobs to do because she has a part to play in all the pieces impacted when stress is high. And that's internal stress, external stress, emotional stress. Tie them all together. They all add up to what I'm calling your burden of stress, your personal burden of stress. So betalains help reduce inflammation in the body. They help to protect your cells from the damaging effects of inflammation or chronic stress, whether it's external stress, internal stress, or emotional stress. Okay, love that. Eat beets. What? Not hard. I know. The second category of foods is the onion family. So we're talking onions, garlic is in this company, shallots, green onions, chives, leeks. What am I missing in here? Green onions, chives, leeks. Yeah. So all of these vegetables. So I love these because they provide a compound called sulfur. Sulfur is actually a mineral. And you may have heard about sulfur. It's really great for skin and nails and hair. Yeah, it's part of your protein matrix to build strong tissues, amongst other things. When it comes to the liver, though, sulfur plays a very important role. So sulfur is typically found in protein or amino acids, the smallest building blocks of protein. But these veggies, there's other foods too that have sulfur, of course, but this whole family, just think of that whole family. That whole family, the onion family with garlic and all those other ones, they help provide sulfur for you to make your own antioxidants. So you make antioxidants. You know, we keep talking about eat your foods that are high in antioxidants. Guess what? You make them too. Antioxidants are a way for a being, be it a plant being or a human being, to help protect. Antioxidants is your protective detail. You can consume antioxidants through our foods that we eat, but you can also make them. So sulfur is one of the compounds you need to make an enzyme, it is an enzyme. Yeah, glutathione, antioxidant, pardon me. Not that it matters. See, I'm angry. I just can't stop talking. So antioxidant that you make is called glutathione. You make a couple, but glutathione's one of the big ones. And glutathione needs sulfur as one of the ingredients when your body's putting together, okay, I need 1 part sulfur and I need 2 parts nitrogen and I would like some zinc. Like whatever your body needs for it. I actually can't remember all the ingredients you need in the recipe, but for your body to make glutathione, you need sulfur. So I hope you're consuming foods that give you sulfur, and I hope you're able to get the sulfur out of that food, right? So sulfur is found in these foods, the onions, the garlic, the shallots, the green onions, the chives, all of these guys. They all provide some amount of sulfur. There's also sulfur found in the brassica vegetables. They're also found in eggs. So if you want to bring in some Brussels sprouts and some cabbage, have some runny egg yolks on occasion, I think that is brilliant. And I wouldn't even say on occasion. Like, yeah, have them, please. Real food is the help. So you specifically need sulfur to, I was doing research on this. Okay. You need it to detoxify compounds that we now have to contend with because of our accelerated kind of, our modern world. All the stuff that is in the modern world that wasn't there for 3 generations ago. We need sulfur to help us detoxify from a lot of this stuff, from pollution, from radiation, from pesticides, and from other stuff that I'm not allowed to mention. That's all I'll say, wink, wink. So I'm so covert. So sulfur, I'm not taking any stand here, PS, 0 stand. I'm just saying you need sulfur. If you're going to be a human in 2021 and you want to make it through with the amount of stuff that our bodies have to contend, then you need sulfur is all you need, right? You need sulfur to make bile. You need sulfur to make and repair DNA. You need sulfur to metabolize your food, so to make a lot of the enzymes that you need to break foods down and then turn that food into energy. You need sulfur in a lot of these different, you're welcome, different pieces of the puzzle along the way. So eat those for the sulfur compounds. Third, dark leafy greens. Most people will tell you dark leafy greens all the time and eat tons, tons, tons. I love dark leafy greens for many reasons, but I question dark leafy greens in large amounts. So some dark leafy greens are like kale actually accumulates, what was it? Oh, it's some type of compound that ends up being, it's labeled as actually as a carcinogen. So kale has the potential of accumulating this out of the soil into the plant itself. And then when we consume the plant, then that can add to the amount of stuff that our body has to contend with, right? Being a human in our modern day and age. Hopefully you'll also have some onions with your kale, and that should help, ostensibly, right? So that's one of them. Sometimes dark leafy greens, they're so high in other plant compounds that are there to protect the plant that we have a hard time accessing some of the nutrients in it. So while you may read that, there's tons of magnesium and tons of calcium available in dark leafy greens, can you even access them? It depends how good your digestive fire is. It also depends if you're able to handle some of those compounds like oxalates. And when some people have a sluggish liver function, because she's too busy doing 87 million other jobs, you're having a hard time getting these nutrients out of the plants you're trying to eat. So now some of these compounds are bound in the oxalic acids or the oxalates in the plants, and you can't actually even get the nutrients out. So one of the ways to work around this is to cook them. Just cook them. So dark leafy greens, stuff like collard greens and kale and chard, I'm not against, but I would tend to put them in something where I can cook them down very well in order to break down some of those compounds, to reduce their negative impact, and to make it easier for me to get some of the nutrients out of those dark leafy greens. There is a dark leafy green that I love probably more than others, and I know Debbie's going to agree with me. Nettle! Nettle's the best. Nettle is a dark leafy green. Nettle would provide you with a lot of the same nutrients, and the reasons why we eat dark leafy greens is for those minerals. Your liver needs a lot of minerals to do all of the detoxification work she needs. So if you provide her with the ingredients she needs to do that work, then you're hitting the mark. So nettle I love. I'll tell you, a cup of tea is a really excellent way to get it. You will get some of the compounds and some of the nutritive qualities of these herbs, and it'll be easier for you to get some of these compounds when you make a cup of tea. So make a cup of tea of nettle for your liver. Eat some dark leafy greens on occasion, but cook them well to help support that liver function. If you know your digestive fire is robust and strong, oh my gosh, eat all the greens you want. Yes, they're so high in so many nutrients. One of the easier greens to get nutrients out of that has a little bit less of stuff bound to it are fresh herbs. So that's an easy way to start upping your greens, but making sure that they're maybe easier for you to digest because you have digestive issues. Fresh herbs provide a lot of the same nutrients. So the moral of the story is you're going to eat some roasted beets, you're going to toss some shallots in that dressing, and you're going to add some nettle or parsley to the end result, and that is going to be a salad that only supports your liver. This has been the last Tuesday live on Good Food and You, I think, unless I figure something out at 2 a.m. on Friday morning on how they're going to change things again on Facebook. So it's too maddening to figure out to offer free content. So I really apologize that I'm having to reduce how much I'm able to support people, but I can't anymore because it doesn't work. If anybody has any solutions, please send them my way because I still want to provide good content, but I got to figure out how I can deliver it without having my hand slapped. Like I'm blocked out of a couple of things right now because I dared talk about being alive. Okay, that's all. I lit fires for you. A little bit sorry, not really. Hope you have a lovely day, and we'll see you.